So, folks, many of you are aware that I've kind of been following roughly this drama that has been unfolding on the right between Turning Point USA and Candace Owens / Tucker Carlson. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was that over the weekend, or at least over the last few days, I forget exactly the timeline, but apparently Erika Kirk and Candace Owens plan to have some kind of peace summit to try and mend their differences and like stop this conspiratorial rambling and ranting about Erika Kirk being like the mastermind of Charlie Kirk's assassination, or Turning Point USA being, assassins or aligned against Charlie Kirk. Or the idea that Charlie Kirk was about to like convert to Catholicism and that was why they had him killed. Like there's a bunch of just crazy shit flying around. A peace summit, what is this, a war now? Well, kind of. It's a war within the Republican Party, and it's a pretty significant schism, right? Because you basically have Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens, along with a handful of other content creators, seeking to siphon off the audience that Turning Point USA and Charlie Kirk had cultivated, which was significant. And whoever's kind of the successor to that is going to wield a very powerful and lucrative propaganda wing and group of people. So where we're at now is that Erika Kirk, I believe it was Turning Point USA, approached Candace Owens to have like a private sit down. And Candace Owens earlier today put up a video about how that went. And I thought we would take a look at that. So here we go.
You guys are absolutely crazy. The amount of people who attacked me for sending out a tweet being like, hey, I'm good, I'm alive. We had a very productive conversation. And they were like, she got the call. She got the call. She's betrayed us. She's doing something else. I can't believe it. This has all just been a show. Calm down, okay? What do you think happened? Well, Erika said, stop. And then I was frozen for 4 hours and 30 minutes, just like as they just put all of these talking points into my head. That is not what happened. I keep telling you guys, I am not governable. I am basically akin to Kanye West.
Oh. Okay, we're just straight up saying like, yeah, I aligned myself with the explicit guy who's a Nazi, huh? The guy who explicitly said I love Hitler. Okay.
Never felt more seen than when he tweeted a lot of years ago, just fired my manager because I realized I can't be managed. That is me. That tweet right there, I was like, oh gosh, yes, Kanye, I get this. Okay. Nobody is changing their mind anything. How ridiculous would it have been if?
Yeah. Look, I'm just like Ye. All right. Look, guys. I'm just like Ye. I'm just like him. Okay. Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, is selling T-shirts on his website bearing a swastika, the symbol of the Nazi Party adopted by Adolf Hitler in 1920. Cool. On Monday, it was the only item for sale on Yeezy.com.
I'm doing all of this, investigating, asking all of these questions, and then Erika Kirk offers to answer some of these questions, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go. I can't betray the people. I don't want any answers to the questions. I just want to ask them. No, this is the entire reason we are doing this. We've been looking at the situation going, why can't Turning Point USA just answer basic questions? And I can tell you guys that yesterday, for 4 hours and 30 minutes, there were no rules. They said you can ask us any question that you want, anything that's on your mind, which I appreciated. And some of you guys are thinking, who is they? Who is they? It's the Jews, obviously. Just kidding. It's Justin Strife. Justin Strife was in the room. It was just Justin Strife and Erika. George joined me just.
What a weird joke to make.
For the beginning portion of the conversation, because he had that thing going on that I told you on the 15th all day. He was in a conference. And then I brought my cousin Mia, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing here. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table, it was really just the four of us until George left. And I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room. I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erika's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but
Why don't drink her water because she's going to poison you? What?
didn't drink that water too. It was a lot.
Did she just say it's the Jews? Yes, she said it's the Jews, and then was like, haha, what a good joke. No.
There's a lot going on, okay? And the conversation started with Justin Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is the actual aim of this conversation? And he was pretty clear, and Erika was very clear, that they were sort of most upset with obviously a bit of a fever pitch, what I tweeted, that it was a godforsaken company and people should not give money to it.
Ha 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 ha. Look, when I said it was a fucking hellhole that no one should support under any circumstance, it was just a little jokey joke, you know?
And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive.
It's a little aggressive. It's just a tad. Just a tad.
In the retrospect, I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers. And there were so many.
I don't think look, Superjet Guy is asking me, do you think Candace Owens believes in Black Hebrew Israelite or Hotep myths? I don't think Candace Owens believes in anything. I think she believes in money. Full stop.
Lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually, when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly aimed at me. And they've teased the interview as like aimed at me, but they never say my name. And that to me felt like it was the first, the first bit of mud that was slung, their answer for that was, hey, that was a really crazy time. A new system had to be put into place. And by no means did Erika give any person the authority to go out and say that the Catholicism thing was a lie. It kind of turned into this big thing. Whatever. Okay, that kind of obviously was not the meat of the reason that we wanted to sit down. I will say I was immediately refreshed by the fact that one of the first things that Erika did was she owned the lies, or rather, I guess they would cage it as miscommunications that were coming from various people at the company. Like, look, this is a company with...
It is, I don't know that this is actually going to work. You know, I don't know that this diffusing is going to work when Candace Owens is still calling them lies and their team is framing it as miscommunications. Because a lie is done with intention to deceive. A miscommunication is an accident, right? And she's still using the term lie, which I think is going to continue to leave this rift open.
650 people that are employed. Everybody at this time is exceedingly emotional, and they are communicating. And no matter what somebody says on Twitter, they assume that this communication has come down from management, and that's not always a circumstance. But they owned right away, which felt great, that if you guys recall, Erika sat down with Glenn Beck. I actually missed this portion because I didn't get to watch the interview in its entirety, and we were pulling clips because a lot was coming out very quickly. But there was a portion that was going around that was viral, and it was Erika saying that she had Charlie's phone and that Charlie never texted anybody the night before saying that he thought that they were going to kill him. And that obviously reflected poorly on me because I was the one who said that he did, in fact, text multiple people the night before. And then I went on Jimmy Dore on Friday, Jimmy Dore's show, and I clarified. I said, Andrew Colvett told me.
Oh God, Jimmy, I actually managed to like wipe the memory of Jimmy Dore out of my brain. Being reminded that he exists irks me.
Specifically, that he was one of the people that received this text message. So
Erin Ha, 1000% she is grifting. It's open to debate whether or not she believes her own insanity, you know? I think it might be 50-50.
I got that first person. I didn't get that from a source. I got that directly from Andrew Colvett. And then somebody who had access to Dan Flood's communications said that Dan Flood similarly received a text message. They owned that right away and explained, Erika said that she has Charlie's phone. She's looking at his iMessages. And it turns out that he, like everybody else, communicates on Signal. He communicates on Telegram. And that those when she heard me say that, they then went and looked, and yes, that what I said was true. Andrew Colvett received a message the night before, and Dan Flood received a message the night before. Now, they asked me if I had actually like a concrete a copy of what Dan Flood got the night before, and I said no. If somebody told me what it said, which was almost exactly what Andrew said, which is they're going to kill me. Andrew did not know who they were, that he was referring to were. But they clarified that the message that Dan Flood received said the left is going to kill me. So I can't confirm that one way or the other. I have to trust them on that because I did not see that.
Oh, is this the story that they're gonna go with? That he knew that the left was gonna kill him. Okay.
That concrete message, I was told that it said they. Now, obviously, we discussed the moment, and I'm laughing here because you TikTokers are actually out of control. You guys are going to be the reason that Israel gets TikTok.
Wait, what is true? She's been talking about the whole text message debacle, right? Like, one of the things was that, like, Erika Kirk was saying, oh, Charlie didn't text anybody. And then, like, she was like, but he texted me. And then multiple members of Turning Point USA who were in the meeting were like, well, he also texted us, but on different apps. So it wasn't on iMessage. And it was all just a crazy mix-up.
Because you guys are acting a fool all the time. And the videos were so hilarious of you guys mocking the Bari Weiss interview. It's great. It's good to laugh at ourselves. And Bari Weiss is always worth laughing at. But I was sort of like, hey, I felt name checked by the podcaster, Candace Owens, this obvious setup, and then asking me to stop. And it's interesting to hear Erika say that the reason she didn't ask me to stop in the beginning because she was actually learning things from the show. She was actually
that was some weird shit.
I don't believe that.
Actually learning things, and that I think she similarly felt that Bari Weiss was trying to create a moment. Obviously, it's who Bari Weiss is. It's the Zionist lobby. She's trying to right perceived wrongs because I'm against her side. That does not surprise me. That's kind of why Bari Weiss exists. That's the reason they put her at CBS, is because she's just committed to stacking the audience with people that are going to present the pro-Israel cause and talk about anti-Semitism and talk about like crime being on the rise. It's kind of an embarrassment, but I actually do accept that. And I should also clarify that Bari Weiss obviously picked those questions. They were not random, like I told you. It wasn't like...
I don't trust her saying Zionist lobby. Well, yeah, because she's not an anti-Zionist. And this is what people get wrong about Candace Owens, like, all the time. She's not against Zionism. She's against Jewish people. She is anti-Semitic. Like, she has co-opted the language that the left uses to critique the foreign and domestic policies of Israel, and is using that to mask her anti-Semitism. Like, that's what she does. And a lot of people have gotten suckered into it. And like, that's a huge problem.
People were coming to the mic and it was an open mic and they didn't know what they were going to get. It was all very much planned by Bari, but Erika said that she knew the general idea, like they were going to mention me and mention the conspiracies, but she was not given that specific, the podcaster
again, it's why she rehabilitated like Kanye West's image, or attempted to. Like, she is anti-Semitic. She agrees with his anti-Semitism.
Candace Owens question. So I think that's fair to clear that up. Now, I did not at all recant any of my suspicions, and I understand people disagree with me about particular people at Turning Point USA. I communicated
Oh, okay. So she backed down on nothing.
what I communicated in front of the whole world. My skin crawled after I spoke to Terrell Farnsworth, the person who took the cameras down. He lied to me several times. I explained to them, which felt good to have that direct communication, how Terrell lied multiple times, and that I did not understand why he was there that day. They echoed what he said. They defended what he said, that they were trying something new that day, that they typically live stream, which is what Terrell said. They typically live stream, and I said every college event. Well, they said, well, yeah, they live stream the events that are tour stops, but they don't live stream like the outside prove me wrong type events. And that was something that was new, and it required Terrell. And I said, even if that was all real, if that was all true, I still didn't feel good about the conversation that I had with Terrell, and I can't ignore my gut about the many little lies that he told. I thought the video he recorded was weird. I know he comes from a very powerful family. I personally do not trust him. And
he comes from a very powerful family. God, anyone with any connection to anything is just a suspicious point of interest for this crowd, huh?
I obviously do not like the fact that I said, Tyler Boyer lied about this thing and came up with an excuse and said, well, Terrell was asked to take the camera down. That's the reason, he said on Twitter, because the police wanted him to take it down and secure the footage. And I said, I know that's not true. And they said, well, after all of that, after he took the cameras down, there was a police officer or Fed, whoever it was, that spoke to him and asked him to secure the footage. Well, that makes sense, but it's not a reason for why he took it down immediately. It makes sense that as you're investigating, you're going to say, who's got the footage? Let's lock it down. But it didn't make sense to me that Tyler Boyer lied about it. And I don't trust Tyler Boyer. And that is never going to change. Similarly with Rob McCoy. He makes my skin crawl. I can't explain it. I look at him and he's a bad person, and nobody can make me feel one way or the other about that.
It's all fucking vibes, man. So much of conspiracy theories just rely on vibes. And you know what? I'm glad that whatever this peace summit was, it does not seem to have worked, because
let them fight.
I'm all for it.
Was surprised to learn, and this is kind of gets into, I guess, us not knowing the inner workings at Turning Point USA, that Rob McCoy actually does not work with Turning Point USA in any capacity whatsoever. And so him communicating as he has done, like, I'm the pastor, I'm this, I'm that, it's just not real. Like, that is not real. And we should know that that's not real. And when he says that, call him out on that separately from Turning Point USA. I was operating under the assumption that he worked for Turning Point USA. And I said, if obviously that's wrong, I'm happy to correct that. But also, what were we to assume when he hit the stage at the memorial and said, I'm America's pastor, and then had the Wikipedia updated and said, well, I'm assuming he had it updated because who else would do that he started Turning Point USA.
I mean, one cannot go to Wikipedia and update their own entries, generally speaking. I kind of feel like it's all a psyop for drama clicks. I think that's what it is for Candace Owens. I think it's in her wheelhouse. I think she's genuinely anti-Semitic, but that this entire conspiracy drama is for the clicks. I do believe that.
Say faith. So I guess, to be clear, we were just wrong about that. And I will have a lot more to say about Rob McCoy and where I believe he fits into a lot of things. So I'm not letting up on that. Now, one piece of this where I still don't understand it, and the magic bullet. Okay. Now, we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage. There was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was with the 30-06. Very quickly, what happens is Andrew Colvett whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet. And he said he wanted to address all of the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize. It's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through.
Again, any speculation about this, I think, is going to absolutely come to light during the trial when they reveal the autopsy results. Because, again, prosecutor absolutely has autopsy results. The autopsy results just aren't being made public. which is pretty standard for, a ongoing case.
The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen on these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death. And the internet clocked it, this miracle, the healthy bone. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive. Like, this is a quote, by the way. His bone was so healthy. I want to read it. This is allegedly from a surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, eek. That kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And immediately,
like we just don't know enough about the weapon, about the ammo, about like what happened to the bullet inside of his body, if you want to get really granular about it. Like, all of that will come to light during the trial.
People in the comments responded to Andrew, and he said,
did she just say there was no blood? Did we watch different videos? I'll take your guys' word for it. I don't want to watch it. Who up with a healthy bone? Mr. Fluffy Wolf, thank you for the $5 super chat.
This individual said, this post is so fake as it would violate HIPAA. Like, there's patient privacy. You can't just call up the surgeon. And then Andrew Colbert replies and says, rest assured, I would not have posted without full permission. Now, he said he spoke to the surgeon, and they confirmed that Andrew spoke to the surgeon, but that they did not know that he was going to write that tweet. They did not know that he called up the surgeon. So, like, it very much came across to be like Andrew was just flying by the seat of his pants. I don't know. Like, he was just flying dark on it. And I was like, that seems very strange to me, because why would a surgeon do that? Like, the first thing the surgeon should say is, I can't speak to you. I don't even know, in theory, Andrew wasn't even there when Charlie died. I don't even know why the surgeon even knows this guy, actually. Maybe he hung around after, but, Andrew was not one of the people that got into the hospital or anything like that. So this is quite literally the PR guy who's calling the surgeon. And so the
PR guy telling a valorizing story about his dead boss while trying to help maintain control over who inherits the Turning Point legacy. I mean, it's not difficult to figure out why someone would massage the truth like this.
That just seems very inappropriate for a person to do, period. And I would say it was kind of the beginning, but that was what I got from that. Now, obviously, we discussed the security. I brought up Brian Harpole, this interview with Sean Ryan, and I think we can believe Turning Point when they say that they did not approve of this. They had no idea he was going on Sean Ryan. I think that's pretty clear. I don't believe he works there anymore. So that was kind of him, just getting out there and perhaps trying to rescue his own reputation. And I think that only made his reputation worse, actually, because people rightfully sensed that he wasn't telling the truth in that interview.
Maybe Charlie had no bones. Maybe Charlie was a ghost the entire time.
That he was being cagey, that he was saying things that didn't make any sense. Again, you constantly have these people that believe, like Brian Harpole, that with enough performance, he can sit down and you're just going to convince people that this is real. And this is just a different time. Like I said, these TikTokers are out of control. They will check you in 4 seconds. Okay. Things that the biggest piece of this that I want to communicate, and that I did communicate to them, and I hope that they took me seriously on this, or that rather that they take.
Yeah, exactly. Hella Miss Irene. YouTube has done weird things with the usernames, and it's really throwing me off. Hella. Yeah, like, the thing is, all of these answers we're gonna get during the trial. We're gonna learn what kind of bullet he used. We're gonna learn, like, what the autopsy results were. We're gonna learn a lot of things that I think would probably, handle a lot of these questions. Keelam, thank you.
Take my strong advice on this. I said, one of the reasons why I really want to sit down is because I want to walk out of here and feel confident saying to my audience, hey, like, there's stuff going on behind the scenes, but Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. That more will come out, but you can take it from me that this is what happened. I was looking to achieve that because there's been a lot of signaling from various people, some people who are experts, some people who have been involved in cases, that there's obviously going to be stuff that the public does not have access.
Yeah, I don't know how she's arguing that there was no blood. Like, I haven't seen the video, and even I know there was blood.
To. And so it is at least plausible that they have seen very clear footage that we've been asking for of Tyler Robinson getting up there and taking the shot. Like, they have access to UVU cameras. So I was hoping to hear that. And I said that I want to hear why people feel so confident at Turning Point USA that Tyler Robinson is the guy. And at this point, they elected to call the lawyer, their lawyer who is involved in this case, one of the lawyers that's involved in this case. There's always a team of lawyers, especially for something like this. And what I got from the lawyer did not make me feel that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk. It did not make me feel confident that he didn't or did shoot Charlie Kirk. I was very surprised by this. He spoke a very long time. I asked, can you share with me what it is? And I said, when you share this with me, I will not say what that thing is. If that's what if we want to.
Why would the lawyer tell you jack shit? Any lawyer worth their salt is not going to be leaking you information about the case.
Protect the integrity of the case. I'm not gonna, if you say we've got
no one believes you that you aren't gonna leak like a sieve. The second you get that info, when like your entire thing for weeks has been trying to cast aspersions. Like this is crazy.
The footage of him taking a shot. I promise I won't say that to the audience, but I will communicate to them that you have something that is solid. And no, to the exact contrary, this guy effectively said, not effectively, he said that they have nothing but the affidavit. Okay, so what you have, what we have seen is what they have. What is being discussed publicly, this whole non-expert problem with well, you don't know. It's what you read, his messages that don't have any dates on it, Tyler Robinson writing out everything and the clean alibi. That's what they have. And what he explained to me was that that's the affidavit stage. That's where it's at. And then what takes place now is the investigation is ongoing, right? So right now they're looking for more information. And once investigators, they could very well have obviously footage. And that is why they might feel that, we're definitely gonna get this prosecution. But the reality is they don't actually share that information with the victim. They don't share that information with Erika. They don't, in this part of the process, they will not know what investigators have discovered. This is what the lawyer told me until May. Okay. They have not seen anything.
4 years of undergrad into law school into years of practice. But yeah, I'll get disbarred to reveal tantalizing details to a Black Klan member.
Why on earth would a lawyer say anything to you about this? If there's a lawyer in the room there, it's to make sure you don't get any information that can be used against them, or to serve as a witness in case you start throwing around threats. The lawyer is there as essentially a form of judicial muscle for them to protect themselves.
You have not seen, is what I want you to know. So with that in mind, I'm sitting here going, why are you signaling? Why do I feel like the public's being gaslit on this? There's been nothing that's convincing. There are so many commentators who.
Well, because the evidence isn't for the public. The evidence is for the court. We'll know the evidence when it's presented in court, but we're not the primary recipients or entitled to be the primary recipients of that information.
I've gone out and said to you, it's overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. The text messages that don't have a date, that don't even sound real, that's overwhelming. That to me feels really fake and gay. I really do want to say that to every commentator.
It feels fake and gay? Are we just bringing back 2007 Xbox Live lingo? Jesus, girl, grow up.
That is out there trying to tell the public and insisting that if you say it enough times to become real, you're actually just being dishonest. And I offered that a more honest way to communicate.
Shit. I forgot about Lindsay Halligan. She might actually have a point.
Is Lindsay Halligan gonna get disbarred? Because, like, I can't really conceive of a bigger fuck up than what she managed to do.
Would be to say, we think he's involved. We feel strongly. I've said that. I think he's involved. We are very hopeful that throughout this investigation, we are going to get that concrete thing. And that's where we're at right now. That's just the stage that we are at. That is not what we are getting from them. That is like, I just feel like that's really important to let you guys know. Let the gaslighting stop. They have what you have, okay? There is nothing else. They are in an investigative stage. Erika has been named as the victim. They will know more in the...
Just out of curiosity, what are the comments like on this? We learned nothing, absolutely nothing. 4.5 hours of conversation, yet we the people are still confused as fuck. Crawling back into my cave, thought we almost had a real one. Okay. A lot that feels off here, a whole lot. Okay, some of these people are feeling weirded out. Transparency is never found in private meetings. That's where the deals are made. I think I just realized we the people will never be allowed to know. If they're still gathering out of evidence 3 months later, why did they destroy the crime scene within days of the incident? Candace told us not to trust our gut, then our gut told us not to trust Candace. This episode truly felt fake and gay. How ironic. Heartbreak. The people know something's off and we're not here for it. Okay, so they're all feeling extraordinarily off-put by this. Candace and Erika think we're dumb. 3.3k likes on that comment. Oh my god. Oh, people are not liking this. Probably why Candace is only hearted if they're still gathering evidence 3 months later. Why did they destroy the crime scene data days after the incident? Yeah, no, people are not here for that.
This May hearing, which...
Yeah, the vibes for them got really bad.
Is the probable cause hearing. That's what the lawyer told me. It's probable cause hearing. And that's when they will see the evidence. That's when they get to present the evidence, why they are going to stand there before a judge and be like, yes, we need to move this forward. It's not just an affidavit. We're not pulling together scraps. We have concrete evidence. Until then, okay, until we all get on the same page and understand what else they have, I am very confident stating the opposite of all of my, I guess, well-paid peers in that I don't believe that Tyler Robinson pulled the trigger.
Let them fight.
And what I also said to them was, and I said this in front of the lawyer, because I don't know why I'm like this. I was like, you might need a new lawyer. I was like, because this person's trying to sell to you that this is solid. One of the rules that me and my husband have is that if you have a lawyer that tells you like you're 100% going to win, it's very clear that you're going to win, you need a new lawyer. Okay, that's a cheerleader. That's not a lawyer. A lawyer, even if you should 100% win, should be telling you the risks here. You know, I feel good about this case. Like, let me talk real to you. I feel good about this case, but here's where things could go wrong. I want you to understand those risks that are involved. We don't have this yet. We don't have that yet. And especially given what I told them, which is your lawyers, or the investigators rather, not their lawyers, because they're not the ones investigating. It's the state of Utah that's investigating. They have not called the one solitary person, as I told you guys, who filmed as he was on the roof. Remember the guy that's like, oh, there's somebody on the roof, and he sees him crouched down. I said, I spoke to that person, and his testimony would be devastating to your prosecution. He saw the person on the roof. He filmed the person on the roof at 12:23 p.m. and he did not see that person take the shot. And this is not some random student. This is a guy who trains people to shoot guns at a range. He knows guns, okay? He said what he saw was a smaller gun. He said that this person was dressed in black tactical gear and there was no recoil. That's devastating. That would be devastating to the prosecution. And yet investigators haven't reached out. Now they offered back, well, maybe they haven't reached out because they have an even clearer video and that's true. That's actually a good rebuttal. They're like, we don't even have to talk to this guy because the video will speak for itself. And we saw what we saw.
I mean, there's video of Tyler Robinson allegedly jumping off the roof to get back down. That's pretty clear. Okay, but wouldn't you still want to speak to the other guy so you could prepare? I don't know, to question him something. I don't like that this investigation is going on, and I feel as though I spoke to more people than they have. Both of the people who filmed videos that day told me that they weren't reached out to. So I don't understand what's happening here. I don't understand the confidence, I guess, is the best way to say this. I told them I do not understand the confidence that is happening. Now,
Another really big thing that happened was they brought me Mikey's call logs, okay? They brought me Mikey's call logs, and that is why I said this was a productive meeting. There is no other way to say it. I asked every question, and they came with paperwork to show and to answer and to explain certain things. Also, which was, I thought, actually kind of sweet, that I guess I did on the previous show. I was like kind of looking at things into Mikey, and I couldn't find him. And someone said, I think Mikey's not his like real name. Like they thought it was his middle name, actually. And I just assumed, okay, well, maybe he's using his middle name and that's why I can't find him. But Mikey really wants you guys to know that is his real name. And it is his real name. I found out shortly thereafter that they were confusing his middle name with, they thought it was switched. That Michael is his real name, just to clarify that, because I realized I actually didn't go back and clarify that. But Mikey's call logs, big piece of this, okay? I'm going to, I guess, jog your memory on what Blake said.
I mean, look, we'll see the evidence, but like, this guy told his partner or his roommate that he did it. He also told his pastor, and his dad wanted to know where grandpa's gun was and then identified that gun as his grandfather's gun. Like, I look, I know it's fun to go down these conspiracy rabbit holes, but like, I just don't see that much conspiracy here.
About,
is the roommate actually trans? No idea, don't care.
Mikey that day, and then I'll tell you what actually happened, because I don't think Blake has that great of a memory. Okay, take a listen.
So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And then we get out, and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realized there hasn't been another shot, so the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And I see Mikey there. And truthfully, I will never forget what I saw, because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw, because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was, he was looking around, and then he says, I need to call Erika. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erika. And I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that.
Look, he could also be, if he's a mental case, it's crazy that he managed to leave a note to his roommate saying that he killed Charlie Kirk, or was going to kill Charlie Kirk, before Charlie Kirk died. That'd be an incredible feat for someone who's just mentally disturbed.
What is happening within a minute of all of this occurring? I remember he calls Erika. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that.
Who the fuck is Mikey? I think Mikey's just like one of the production staff.
That call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy, and he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit.
But in the big scheme of things, so what? Well, the so what behind all of this is that it is going to determine, depending on how the audience reacts to each side, it's going to determine which way the Republican Party goes, right? Like this, we're talking about like the assassination of someone who is prominent enough that like conservatives were saying his death was the Reichstag fire of America, right? And we're looking to see which side ultimately wins out. Is it going to be the pro-Israeli state side, or is it going to be the outright anti-Semitic side? Is it going to be the Nick Fuentes faction, or is it going to be the Netanyahu faction? And like, that's the important thing. That's why we're talking about this. That's why it's important, because this has become a microcosm of which way, MAGA man. And they're kind of at a fork in a road. And like a lot of the MAGA movement is trying to figure out which way they want to go. Because there are a lot of Christian evangelicals who want to stick with Netanyahu, but there are also a lot of Christian evangelicals who are just anti-Semites, and they're looking for an excuse to just let that flow, you know? So it'll be important to see which way this goes.
Anyway, have you seen this ballroom I'm making?
It's got a lot of room for your balls. Take Tanuki, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Which flavor of white nationalist to rule us? Yeah, but I mean, like, it does matter, right? Like, for the future of what our opposition is going to become. Like, are they going to be outright overt Nazis? I would say that's pretty important. Archangel Decab, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Appreciate you.
We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him.
Okay, so that's just not right. And so when he says, I might be imagining this, for I'll never forget, followed by I might be imagining this, probably means that maybe you forgot and like you really could be imagining. Now, for me personally, I think the normal physiological response in these high adrenaline situations for most people is you lock in. They're literally your body, when it goes through something, when it's terrified and it's going through like sort of like you are really paying attention to details. We've learned about this many times over in health class growing up. This is why they talk about that fight or flight response, and quite literally there's stuff happening to your
Eric Fernandez, you are correct. Candace Owens is a sociopathic grifter. Like, that's kind of her thing. Like, she doesn't give a shit what she has to say in order to succeed with the audience she's cultivated. She just doesn't give a shit. She'll say whatever.
body. And so there's a lot of details here that are just not accurate. And the one that surprised me the most about these call logs is I certainly feel that we were given the impression over and over and over again that the first person Mikey called was Erika, right? He called Erika. We were told this by many people also that he trained, like he almost like went to a camp and trained, and Charlie was like, 1, 2, 3, go, and like fast, 1, 2, 3, go. That's why he walked away. 1, 2, 3, go, and just told him, this is what the first thing you do is. Well, he didn't do that. Actually, the first person he called was his wife. He called Elizabeth McCoy. And then he stayed on the phone with his wife for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, he three-wayed Erika 3 minutes after the shot went off. And then he three-ways his father. And then he three-ways a third person who I am not interested in mentioning because it's not relevant. This is Danny McCoy, by the way.
This is all, again, remember just recently I did a video where we talk about conspiracy brain nonsense. It was about the pyramids, right? It was about the pyramids. And it was about how, like, conservatives latch on to conspiracy theory that is essentially numerology, but with a couple extra steps. This is that. This is just numerology, but with a few extra steps. We're just like looking for any kind of thing that you're never going to have all the answers to, and that allows you to slot whatever explanation you want in there.
There are two factions in this fight. One hates the Jews, so they say screw Israel. The other one hates the Jews, so they want Israel to start the end times and killing or converting all the Jews.
I mean, Pluvius, that is essentially the two different factions of the Christian nationalist movement, right? Like, one is overtly anti-Semitic, the other is, anti-Semitic, but in like we'll help you, we'll still help the nation of Israel form because we think it will lead to the resurrection of our God, and then he'll kill all of them. Like, it's deeply weird that this is the split we're now seeing come bubbling up to the surface of the MAGA movement. But here we are, It's
his brother that's in the military, but that's before the shot goes off. Charlie Kirk shot goes off. I have that in detail. Charlie's brought to security. Mikey McCoy calls his wife. They will stay on the phone for 10 minutes. Okay. In that same minute, because we know this, because Blake Neff has given us his call log to his mother. Blake Neff called his mom. His call with his mother lasted 45 seconds. So we're assuming it went to 12:25. It very well could have stayed in 12:24, depending on the millisecond. Blake Neff ends that phone call with his mother. Mikey McCoy, after the phone call with his mother ends, adds Erika to the phone. Okay, so that when he was recapping and he's like, his lips quivering and he's like, I got to call Erika. And he's like, and then I called my mom. That's not right. That's just not right. Okay. Mikey called Erika after Blake Neff ended that phone call with his mother. If call logs are to be believed above, human testimony.
Oh, no. Ben Shapiro's not a sucker in the sense you're thinking, Liz Galahad. Ben Shapiro and also Dennis Prager in a similar vein, both of them seek the validation and the views and like the prestige of basically kind of attempting to co-opt the evangelical movement. In a sense, like when they talk about Judeo-Christian values being like a coherent thing that's always existed, it hasn't. What they're doing is basically thinking like, well, Christianity isn't true, so like really what we're doing is getting a bunch of folks to support Israel, and that's good because like the prophecy about the second coming of Christ isn't gonna happen.
Ben's a sucker because of his sister and cousin.
That's true. That is true. What is Abby Shapiro up to these days? I have not checked in on Classically Abby in some time. We should check in at some point.
Mikey McCoy then drops Erika from the phone call 2 minutes later, and then he adds his father to the phone call. Again, he is this entire time on the phone with his wife, okay? And then Mikey McCoy ends his phone call with his father. He does call another person who I'm not mentioning because it's just not relevant to anything.
Social media.
Not a character in the story, rather. And then he ends the phone call with his wife.
Oh no, she closed down Classically Abby. No, I missed it. No!
And a minute later, his brother calls him back and they stay on the phone for 10 minutes. I did not get this from everybody speaking about this Mikey McCoy call log. I know that you guys did not get this. I did not get this. I don't know why she was disappeared from this. Like you could go, look, the wife wants privacy. No, she was like, main stage at the memorial, has been, I would say very involved in a lot of this kind of, I think it's very close that she's close with Erika. They went on vacation together. So I don't get this disappearing act. I found that to be like, okay, but they were forthcoming with it. That feels good. That feels good, guys. Like, wow, we don't have to guess. Now we have solid answers. And like I said, when you come out and give solid answers and you're not weird and calling people names and saying all this stuff, it allows people to go, okay, I feel a bit more like we can trust this process because we have communication. That's the reality. And so I wanted to update you with that. Also, another thing that really, I think, surprised them and I think surprised me is getting back to this Hamptons retreat. The thing about the Hamptons retreat, and I communicated this with them, that makes me so uncomfortable is how many little lies were told. I think I've been clear about that.
Again, there's a lot of backpedaling happening, but she's still framing it as they're malicious liars. So I think this beef is going to continue, but I think this particular reaction and meeting with them is going to sour her audience on this type of content. It's possible that, folks will navigate to Nick Fuentes or Tucker Carlson for, their fix on this, or InfoWars could pick it up, I suppose. We'll see.
Like Seth Dillon definitively pressed Charlie at this event. Now, whether it was in a hypothetical, which it was in a hypothetical, but he got fired up in the hypothetical of Charlie discussing potentially tweeting something against Bibi Netanyahu, it did lead to this firecracker moment. Again, this is one of those things where I go, why am I always being hung out to dry for telling people the truth?
Yeah, I mean, Forlorn 79, Prager and Shapiro basically see evangelicals as useful saps that will support their conservative agendas and that they feel like they can get on board with the nation building project and Zionism. That's essentially it. Useful idiots.
Especially when I wasn't going, oh, well, Seth Dillon killed Charlie Kirk. I just, this happened. It factually happened. And yet everybody's kind of putting out these weird statements and they're not being honest in them. And I was saying to them, that made me feel really weird. And
why is she seemingly backpedaling about this whole conspiracy? I mean, she's not fully backpedaling, but I'd say she's like 25 or 40% backpedaling, while trying to maintain a conspiratorial tone. But she's doing this because she met with Erika Kirk and her team privately, and now everyone's like, "Oh, you got the call. You've been compromised. Candace can no longer be trusted." Yeah.
I would love to know more and about this Bibi Netanyahu offer to fund Turning Point to the next level. At which point Erika said she was not aware of that happening. It is obviously totally possible that that was kept in the business lane of Turning Point USA. But I'm certain, I said, I am absolutely certain that I did not get this from an obscure source, that Bibi offered to fund Turning Point to the next level. And it was part of my frustration with that sit down with Alex Clark, where Andrew said, oh, there was not $150 million, that's made up. You know, I told them, Andrew Colvett was my source. Andrew Colvett told me verbatim that Bibi Netanyahu offered to take Turning Point to the next level and that Charlie turned that money down. So I said, there's a bit of a predicament when I'm being like lambasted by all of these voices.
$150 million? I'm sorry.
$50 million, that's made up. You know, I told.
Okay, look, I know that the Israeli government has compromised a lot of groups in the United States, and I know that they have money to throw around, but I don't know that they're gonna be able to covertly transfer $150 million into an explicitly political org. I'm pretty sure is Turning Point a 501c3?
Wait, does she have a promo photo of herself on her laptop? I
Yes,
haven't seen this
yes, she
much
does.
self-advertising since Steve Bannon has his own quote framed behind him.
God, Steve, I need to check in with Steve Bannon. I know a lot of stuff has been going on with him and Epstein. Revelations. We'll have to check in with that guy. I have not thought about Steve Bannon in a hot minute, Sake. But you're right. And thank you for the two tier 1 subs. Yeah, Turning Point USA is a non-profit, meaning like the money that they receive has to be made public. So like we would know that the Israeli government was funneling $150 million into them. Like, I think that like there's no way Charlie would have been able to take that money.
Told them. Andrew Colvett was my source. Andrew Colvett told me verbatim that Bibi Netanyahu offered to take Turning Point to the next level and that Charlie turned that money down. So I said, there's a bit of a predicament when I'm being like lambasted by all of these voices and people that are attacking me and these paid campaigns. And when I say paid, yes, okay, actually have the names of people. Different ways they're being paid. Some are being paid by PR firms. Too many are being paid by Prager University, which is upsetting to me because I know Marissa and it's just dirty. But it's especially crazy when people are calling it a conspiracy when I share things that are told to me from the spokesperson of Turning Point USA. Okay. That's weird. And yes, they were forthcoming. Nobody's ever denied this. So this was not on our list of lies about the fact that Bibi Netanyahu did call him. Okay. That did happen. Bibi shared that, by the way. Our source for that could have just as well been Bibi Netanyahu. And not a lot of clarity on, I don't know, why some people think he didn't make this offer and why definitively 3 different sources who would have knowledge of this confirmed to me that Bibi Netanyahu did indeed make this offer. I never said $150 million ever, not once on the show. I wouldn't have even said that, by the way. If you said take Turning Point to the next level, I actually would have assumed it was more, if I'm being honest. That's a hefty offer and it leads to a lot of questions. So there was not a lot of clarity there. Lastly, I want to add, of course, I was locked in this meeting when people on live were another round of debunking the Egyptian planes. I want to be very clear. We discussed the Egyptian planes, and I have since worked on an incredible document about the Egyptian planes, which we are going to put up on our website because I realized that when we shared that spreadsheet, people assumed that
fucking Egyptian planes. Like, Yeah, all the nations of the earth have to be trying to meddle in on this one. Hey, maybe every nation sent their own assassin, and they all fired at the same time. Maybe the bullets all canceled each other out in midair, and just the bullet fragments hit Charlie. Maybe that's what happened.
One of the columns, which was actually saying where the planes landed on that day, because it was plus or minus 3 days, was exactly where Erika had been on that day, and that was inaccurate. And so for clarity, I had been working on the last week on turning it into an interactive timeline that we can put up on our website, because I am certain that these Egyptian planes are incredibly shady and that they were in fact tracking Turning Point USA, Faith, broader events. Of course, Erika was at some of them, Charlie was at some of them, but it is the pattern here is undeniable. So let the naysayers and people make videos trying to, fifth round debunk these planes. I also want to say to you that I feel very confident that I know why these planes have caused such panic. And it is because there is overwhelming evidence that these planes regularly fly in and out of Israel. And I'm going to present that evidence tomorrow. I say that strongly. This is I feel very confident saying these Egyptian planes are flying in and out. And notice I'm saying planes because once I was able to connect people that were on those planes onto other Egyptian planes, I was able to realize that these planes are flying in and out of Israel and turning their transponder off each time that they do it. That is now makes perfect sense of why there was this mass panic, right? It's not exactly like we have a strong Egyptian lobby in the United States. Not like we're like, whoa, well, those darn Egyptians again are trying to get TikTok censored.
Okay, look, I know there's a bunch of misinformation being thrown around here, but I don't know. Like, you might say, oh, there's no Egyptian lobby. Bob Menendez is literally serving prison time for taking literal bars of gold from Egypt. Number one. But number two, I don't think this has anything to do with Egypt. Like Egypt doesn't have a role to play in this particular instance. Yeah, again, it's all vague gesturing at like the shadowy Jews who are controlling the world to have orchestrated Charlie's death. Like that's what she's trying to allege constantly, all the time.
I mean, every person in the game, Barry, acting. Well, these are the usual suspects that act if something is a threat to Israel, okay? Which is, they should have just been forthcoming, pretended that it was changing apart. Instead, they're trying to gaslight us, and they're actually, frankly, just pissing me off. So I became locked in on these Egyptian planes because that's how I am, okay? You keep pushing me and keep pushing me, I will become an expert on these planes. I'll learn how to build an Egyptian plane. And the reality is, like I said, tomorrow I will show you how these planes tie back to Israel. And there's no disproving this. So more on that later. We'll be right back after throwing it to some of our sponsors. I thought it was Danny McCoy on the call log. I should totally correct that, and I will correct that, and we'll be sure to trim it in post here. But it is not Danny McCoy. It is Danny, another one of Charlie's assistants. So I will correct that. Please correct that if you're going to make videos.
Yeah, look, Candace, live stream yourself building an Egyptian plane. Okay, do it. Do it. Build it. Live stream yourself going to Egypt and building a plane. Do that, please, for the love of God. Do anything other than this, which I'm not gonna lie, we're done with the Erika Kirk segment now. Like, this was the result of their sit down. This seems like mental illness to me. And it might be mental illness combined with grifting. It might, like, I don't know, but like, this is obsession to a degree that is deeply unhealthy and also is just, I mean, I gotta be honest, it seems like it comes across to me as utter nonsense. And like, I gotta be honest, none of this checks out to me at all.
Remember that Steve Bannon made her famous during Gamergate? Candace Owens used to be a left-wing grifter.
And then she did like a professor reporting tool or something like that. I forget exactly the origin story. But it was very similar to Turning Point USA, which also had like a professor reporting tool to like try and like root out, progressive teachers or, like professors. Like, girl, get some help. Like, use some of the conspiracy dollars you've gotten to get, like, the best therapist. Like, come on now. When does she get out the corkboard and yarn? Right after she builds that Egyptian plane from scratch. She was doxing 4chaners and sending threats to game devs? Yeah. She's just a lock-in kind of gal. Look, all I'm saying is I am not at all convinced by any of these conspiracy theories whatsoever. Whatsoever. I've looked at the bullet videos where they're like, oh, well, it couldn't have been this bullet. It would have pierced right through his body. Like, look, I understand that, but I want to know what's presented in court. I want to know the autopsy results. And we're just not going to get that from conspiracy posting constantly. That's not going to do anything other than drum up a fervor that when the actual facts are presented, that fervor, that crowd that's been whipped up into a frenzy is just going to misinterpret all of those facts to try and fit their conspiracy theory. And it just, I don't know, it seems a lot more straightforward than that to me. The fact of the matter is that regardless of the outcome, we still are and always will be Charlie Kirk. Indeed, we are Charlie Kirk. We carry
I expect her to try and
flame.
sell the concept of selling the concept of Egyptian burial chambers to Egyptians. And trying to act like it's Marxism, Leninism, Maoism.
You know, look, she wouldn't sell a whole Egyptian burial chamber to Egyptians. Obviously, she would sell timeshares in the Egyptian afterlife. Obviously. You know, you pay a set fee every month, and then you get to, like, reduce the weight of your soul. You know, and if you buy enough timeshares in the afterlife, well, you can bring that down to the weight of a feather, baby. An MLM, a pyramid. Sake, I'm not gonna lie, that one hurt. That one hurt my soul in a way I'm never gonna recover from. Oh, God. Damn it. Fucking pyramid scheme. Fuck me. You earned that one. All that being said, folks, I gotta be honest, I'm very bored of all of this, and I don't care outside of the fact that this is gonna cause them to fight more. And the more that these people fight, the less they are focused on actually organizing anything, which I think is great. I think that one of the right's largest, you know, organizing apparatuses being embroiled in petty infighting and drama sniping rather than organizing a coherent resistance for 2026 and 2028 is just a net good. It is good to fracture the right in this way because it will make it easier for us to retake power and hold those who have currently been abusing their power accountable. So I think overall, this is a good thing. Just, I don't buy into any of the conspiratorial nonsense. All that being said, hit that like button, leave a comment, longer than 8 words, really helps the show. And please consider dropping those subs, donos, memberships, super chats. You guys make the show possible. Check out your local DSA. Check out your local Dems. If you need help radicalizing your Dems, reach out to Dragonfly in our Discord. Reach out to GamerG in the Discord if you want help making your local DSA more effective. And please check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes and also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks, and universally loved. Check it out. And you know, there's a link down below. Go check it down in the doobly-doo. Go check it down there. So for the standalone segment, does the editor cut out the 16 minutes of toot? Historically, yes.